Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Ooh. Hello. Hey, Philip. Hey, Linda. How you guys doing? Where is everybody today? What's up, Shawnee? Good morning. Morning, Kelly. Yeah, it's being weird. Being weird. Yeah, I put it in because for some reason it didn't tell anybody that I was live. So. Go with that. Yes. Hey, Maureen. I couldn't sit through the whole speech. I mean, if you heard the first part, you heard the second part. So if you heard the first part, you heard the second part. Hey, Angel. It was pretty bad. It was really bad, in fact. It was so bad. Oil has gone up 10%. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Worked in my garden, did dishes, cleaned my dishwasher, and now I'm back in bed. Heck yeah. That's going to be great for his approval rating. I was talking with Adam, in fact, via messaging. And the thing that popped in my head was what that we couldn't understand is what he thought he was going to get from it. If that makes sense. Like, I'm not sure what he actually believed he was going to gain from it. I mean, Shawnee, there's a lot of them that are like that. There's a lot of people that are running in different districts that I was like, oh, I would love it if I was in their district. I'd say probably 3/4 of the people I've interviewed, I'd probably be ecstatic if I was in their district. And even the rest of them, I'd be pretty cool with it. I asked an intentionally vague question yesterday to see where his head was for accountability. He was quick with term limits, etc. Yeah. This speech will go down in history as the most colossal flop. Reminded me of Carter's Malaise speech. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Jeremiah. So one of the things that I realized in doing yesterday's thing, as much as it was great to do it, is I need to figure out a way to grow enough that I can do some live interviews. Because as great as the internet is, West Texas is up even more, Scott. West Texas is up almost 12%. West Texas is more expensive than Brent right now, which is crazy. West Texas being more expensive than Brent is just wild. Hey, Lady Prairie. Yeah, we had a president with polio and he built up relations with our South American allies without being able to walk. Can we acknowledge that? Yes, we can, Shawnee. Can America acknowledge it? No. What's up, Meme? Good morning. Yeah, West Texas is at 112. Brent is at 109. Even Merben's at 113.7. Again, West Texas being where it is, like, I don't think people realize how bad that is. We are looking at one of the biggest flops in history. I felt like I was watching a first grader give a book report. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like a first grader giving a book report. Morning, Kia. Morning, Paige. Morning, DDC. Well, and see, this is the part that people don't understand. And I hear you, Mo. I know it was sort of a joke, but it was a joke, but I don't think Americans realize that America doesn't own the oil. Oil companies own the oil. And because oil companies own the oil, when oil goes up and down or how much we produce doesn't really mean much. Like, it does in the sense of the costs go up and down, but like, it's not like the state owns the oil. Companies own the oil. The only oil that we quote unquote own is in the strategic reserve, which is at like 25% of capacity right now. If he's got a campaign, like if he's got a speechwriter, they need to be fired. Because that thing was pathetic. I don't even think it was Stephen Miller. I think it was him just rambling to an assistant. Dang. Dow is down 1.2%, S&P 1.2%, Nasdaq 1.67%. GT and Hawk both streamed it. Yeah, if I didn't do my thing at 6, I would have streamed it. I just didn't want to be live again. I'd been live enough yesterday. Was so shocked Hawk didn't get banned because he said a whole lot. Yeah, well, there's still time. Trump really outdid himself. He managed to collapse the economy twice. Yeah. Morning, Eleanor. But yeah, I want to get to a point where I can do these interviews live. And again, I'm not, I can't, not sure what I'm saying, but I feel like being able to do some of these more live would be better conversations. Don't get me wrong, last night was great. But I need to be, I'm feeling like doing everything via like web Zoom kind of things is not long-term sustainable. I got to figure out something. Yes, I do, Shawnee. Remember how it was reported that Trump was upset no one was pushing their accomplishments? That's all he's been trying to do without actually doing anything. Yeah. Like I said, it was like watching a first grader try and give a book report. That's what it felt like. I actually interviewed, it hasn't come out yet, obviously, but I interviewed a man who was running for governor of Alaska. That was a pretty cool interview. I don't think so, Shawnee. I mean, obviously, I have no information one way or another on that. I don't think so, though. I could be wrong. Yeah, Murkowski. I think the Alaska senator has a mentality that is kind of similar. Rotisport 60 Trump lacks the mental acuity to be president, including 30% of Republicans. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think Lisa Murkowski interacts with things in a somewhat similar way that Fetterman is trying to interact with things, and one thing that it is showing is that it doesn't work. But I feel like Murkowski and Fetterman, like their mentality on some things are very similar lately. Having interviewed the guy who's running for governor, I feel like the problems in Alaska are greater than I mean, again, trust me, I've got no love for Fetterman in any way, shape, or form. I think his stroke did a lot to him. I think he's got a mentality for things that is, I mean, I'm not comparing him to first graders. I said I felt like I was watching a first grader give a book report. It's not an insult to a first grader. It's an insult to him. Totally agree, Shawnee. Totally agree. Like I said, I want him gone. I want him gone sooner rather than later. I think he is doing a lot to destroy this country. Yes, that is kind of a lot of what I got from that is a lot of what I got from talking to the guy who's running for governor. Morning, Summer. But yeah, I actually think while watching it, I almost fell asleep. He said such a little of anything. There was a point towards the end where I was drowned, like dozing off, because he was saying so little. That is how bad it was. Good morning, Kelsey. He looked so bad. He looked so bad, Kelsey. I was mostly pissed I missed part of Survivor. I heard some people complaining about that too. Like it wasn't worth missing part of Survivor. Yeah. Organically, Scott. It's going to organically open up. Oh no. I didn't watch something different. And you know what? Oil prices and the stock market agree with me. Hey, Bobia. Thank you. We're going back to the moon. Okay. Sure we are. I don't think we're going to end up doing anything on the moon. I don't think going to the moon is good. Not right now. Personally. I didn't watch Not Enough Spoons to deal with it, but I did see people speculating if it was pre-recorded or not. I mean, either way, it was bad. I mean, oil has gone up. West Texas crude is more expensive than Brent. US oil is more expensive per barrel than Middle Eastern oil right now. Like, do you guys... It was so bad that West Texas oil is more expensive than Middle Eastern oil. Morning, OC. Morning, Lori. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Gas is $3.90 in Raleigh now. How high prices need to be great again? All right. They want to build a base, Scott. They want to build a base. A moon base. Because that will help us here so much. It was like, I said before, it was like watching a first grader give a book report. Good morning, Sculpture. But yes, Aku. Yes. Yes. Guys, if you're over here, please do this thing. Share it. All that stuff. Helps push it out to more people. Join the fan club if you like what we do here. You notice that Caroline has a black... I did not notice Caroline has a black eye. Wasn't Artemis 2 planned under Biden's term? I don't remember. He dumbed it down for me. He didn't say anything. There's no dumbing down. He literally said nothing. What's up, Ghost? Thank you, guys. Thank you for the heart me's and the populars and the love yous and the how are yous and the you're awesomes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please, I appreciate it all. It really helps it make it possible for me to keep doing this. You guys supporting me like you do, so thank you. Might get loud. Have you seen the new library going up in Miami? I haven't. Hey, Siberio. He was lying out of his teeth. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He was straight up lying. 100%. 100%. What did he... No, he didn't say anything new. He didn't say anything old. He didn't say anything. They're still working on them. Kia, Scott, do you guys want to come up so you guys can talk when it gets loud in here?
You know, Ghost, the funny thing about that was, so I said on the other side, I watched it on my iPad and on my phone. And I watched Hawk and GT, and that's what Hawk kept saying over and over. He's like, okay, but what's your point? He's like, all right, we're this many minutes in. What is the point of this? And then he got to so many more minutes. He's like, okay, so here we are 15 minutes into this thing. He still hasn't said what this shit is all about. And I mean, and he just rumbled and rambled, and it made absolutely no sense. It didn't seem like there was a point. He didn't say, he did say with Iran that we had basically and this is just me kind of paraphrasing TikTok, that we had wiped out their navy, we wiped out all their stuff, and this was all going to be done in a few days, and yada yada. It was.
If by badass you mean dumbest, then sure.
I think they didn't. I don't think they understand like how problematic it is. Like one of the things that I think Hawk and GT both mentioned was the fact that you demand on air primetime news coverage from all the stations. It was this big fucking deal for 20 minutes of nothing.
Yeah. It when I talked to I was messaging like all all the people that either are in politics or do politics after it, and I was like, so what did you think? And some of them were like, I hadn't watched it yet, I was planning on watching a summary later, and I was like, don't bother.
You know, I mentioned it on the other side. It reminded me an awful lot, and I'm going to age myself as if I even need to. I remember watching Jimmy Carter's Malaise speech, and I guess that was around 1978. And I deliberately went, I was in Boston at the time, I deliberately went where all Bostonians go to listen to how people would react to it. So I went to watch it in a Dunkin' Donuts.
There you go. Yep.
And which is, and I kept my mouth shut because I wanted to hear what other people said. Now, to show how out of touch I was, and I, full disclosure, I'd worked, that was my first campaign. I'd worked in his presidential campaign. And it fell flat because he offered nothing new. People wanted to hear answers to the stagflation that we were going through. They wanted to hear proposals, and instead he lectured us on how he never used the word malaise, but it went down as the malaise speech. This was the same thing. Anybody who tuned in wanted to hear what the end game was, not a rehash of his previous posts on Truth Social, which is all we got. An incoherent rehash of garbage that he's posted intermittently on Truth Social.
Yep. And again, you can sit here and come in and say, no, like this was a good speech, but the oil and the stock market would disagree with you, not to mention a whole swath of the country. But it's like, it was so bad. I said this already. It was so bad that local oil is more expensive than Middle Eastern oil.
Yeah, and you corrected me. I read the futures when I got up around 4 a.m, and they were up 7%, and now West Texas is up 12%. So the market votes with their brains, and they viewed last night as an absolute horror show, worse than if he hadn't have spoken at all.
Yep.
And the same is true in the stock market, which is now down over 500 points when I last checked it. So this was a disaster. This will go down as one of the worst speeches in presidential history, not because of the speech itself, but because of its ineffectual effect upon the American people. We wanted answers. We didn't hear even proposals. We heard nothing.
Then the imported oil is coming. But if domestic oil is going up in price over imported oil and
They
from the
probably ran
Middle,
out of space.
then it's greed. No, no, it's so here's what happens. Here's what's happening. So the reason you are seeing West Texas oil go up is because there is an assumption that the disruption over in the Middle East is going to continue, which means the demand is going up. When the demand goes up and the supply goes down, prices go up in the places where the demand is going to come from. So,
yeah, and I agree. We shouldn't make too much of the difference between Brent and West Texas Intermediate. That'll tend to even out, but we should look at the trend lines of both of them as and also including the oil that comes directly from the Persian Gulf. They're all just skyrocketing right now.
Yep.
Where they finish up, we don't know, but they're all skyrocketing.
And I'm just saying, this is how these people think. They sit there and they go, where can I make the most money? So yes, greed is definitely part of it. These are companies. It's a global thing. There's an expectation that that the cost of oil, or that there's an expectation now that for a while at least, the strait is not going to open up. And because of that, they're going to have to pull oil from other places. No, they're working on my flooring. Yeah, it's an oscillating tool.
Yeah, he's getting some new floors in. But and Scott, and that's the thing. It's like when I was a little kid, I remember, not really understanding what the presidential speeches and stuff like that were about, but at least it didn't sound like when I hear him speak, I immediately start thinking someone needs to come get their peepaw. And I've never had that feeling before.
Or in the alternative, somebody ought to tell that third grader he needs a timeout. I mean, it's one or the other. What he doesn't speak like is a functioning adult. And I was on the other side, I mentioned the Reuters poll that 60% of Americans now doubt that he has the mental acuity to be president. Not even that they disagree with his policies, whatever they are. Who knows? His policies change from hour to hour. But they just doubt that he has it. And it's about time. It's about time that the elephant in the room, we start talking about it. Because this man has the nuclear codes, and his mental acuity directly relates to our own security and survival as a nation. And this should be a subject that is discussed in the mainstream media every day, and it's not.
I do want to say just real quick, I know it's loud, I'm sorry. Callie, we are not getting peace in the Middle East. We spent 20 years in Afghanistan and couldn't bring peace. Why do you think that just dropping hundreds of billions dollars worth of munitions is going to cause peace in a country that is larger than Afghanistan? We're not getting any peace. I don't know why you guys think that you are.
Yeah, if peace is what you're wanting, then going in and dropping shit out of the sky, unaliving a bunch of kids sitting at school, that's not, how do you think you're ever going to get peace from that? That's not how that works.
Look, Iran is a nation of 93 million people, 3 times the population of Iraq. Iran also happens to be 3 times the size of Iraq. Iran, unlike most of the Middle East, is mountainous. What does all that add up to? There is no way that we can dictate what type of government that they have. We can't dictate that. That will have to, by necessity, come from the Iranian people themselves. And when the Iranian people rose up 2 months ago, when we brought this up, I brought this up with your guest last night, who, by the way, was fantastic. we encouraged them to do this. And then when push came to shove, we did nothing to help them. And as the president himself said last night, 45,000 people were massacred. Mr. Trump, you're the one who encouraged them to rise up and then did nothing to help them. If I were you, I wouldn't be bringing that up. It's not exactly a flex.
And how do we get peace? Not the way that we're doing it. And I know you're sitting here saying you're hearing a lot that doesn't work and zero what would. We can't force peace. How do you get peace? Talking, negotiating, learning to communicate, not sticking our faces and bodies and intelligence agencies and everything else we do in this country into other countries' businesses. We started this whole thing 50, 60, whatever, however many years ago, 70 years ago.
1953, when we overthrew the democratically elected prime minister, Mogadishu.
All because of oil.
Iran. Yeah. Look, we were negotiating with them. One of the major problems, what started this war, was a memo from Steve Witkoff to Trump that the Iranians were being intransigent. In fact, he mistranslated the Iranian proposal. This is not the first major mistake that Steve Witkoff has made. This is why you have experts in the State Department to carry on your negotiations. You don't get some slimy New York real estate hustler, a faux Henry Kissinger, who doesn't know the first goddamn thing about diplomacy. You don't send him to negotiate. And this guy screwed it up with Putin. He misinterpreted what Putin said, too. This is not the first major mistake that Steve Witkoff has made. What this idiot is still doing, glomming around the Trump administration, is a mystery. The man is a total fuck-up and has been from day one.
And again, the money that that Trump talked about in his speech that we gave them after the first nuclear deal, it was their money. We didn't give them American money. We gave them their money. We said, if you follow these rules, you will get some of your sanctioned money back so you can use it for things that your country needs. That's how negotiations work. That's how peace works.
That's exactly right. The what was it, 1.5 billion that we gave to Iran? It was their money, not ours. It was their money that had been left over from the Shah. And we paid them in cash, as if that is somehow nefarious. He paid them in cash because we had current laws on the books barring bank transfers. So we had to pay them in cash.
400 million was owed, not $1 billion. Oh my gosh, dude.
400 million was the first payment. So if you're going to contradict, learn what you're talking about, idiot.
And anyways, no peace is being made.
You're the one who contradicted.
This is called having a hard conversation. Sometimes that happens. We don't know you, and all you've done is try and defend what is going on over there. So excuse us if we're not very forgiving on someone that thinks that what's going on over there is a good thing, that the hundreds of billions of dollars that we will spend is a good thing, that the 13 lives that were lost as a result of this idiotic war is a good thing, is acceptable.
Unfortunately, I have to leave early, Mike, because I have a meeting. But
No worries.
I got a few more minutes. It is not lost on me that the money we've spent already in this war, and we're God knows when it's going to end, already would have funded the ACA subsidies for an entire year. An entire year would have funded all of it. We've already gone past that amount that we spent.
We didn't send $280 billion to Ukraine. I know you've already been muted probably a billion times, but we didn't send any money to Ukraine. We didn't send money. We sent arms and munitions that were going to be taken, like dismantled, because they've just been sitting there for decades in some cases. And I know you can't talk anymore, but I do want to make it clear. The president has no ability via an executive order, let's say, to affect gas prices. That does not mean that what a president does or says does not affect the people that help affect the gas prices. That's always been the case. Literally anything that happens in this country or around the world, if somebody hears that a president is going to start a war, that's going to affect things, because the people that are investing in things like oil and stocks care that a war starts. So no, we've never said that something a president says cannot affect gas prices. We're saying that I'm not blaming Trump for gas prices in the way that you guys blame Biden for gas prices. I'm saying that what this current president is doing is so idiotic that the people that are investing in it are making it go up and down. Like, he is causing so much unrest and uncertainty in the globe that this is happening. I mean, you literally, you can watch the moment he starts talking to the end and how oil prices shot up during that 19-minute speech.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think this is completely, totally different. We would have said the same thing about Biden if he would have went and started dropping stuff from the sky and then every other day said, oh, it's about to be done. Oh, this, oh, that. We would have been saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Kia. It's exactly consistent with our position on the Epstein files. If they're Democrats in there, fine. We don't care who's in there. Prosecute them. Doesn't matter if they're Democrats, Republicans, politicians, businessmen, athletes, entertainers, doesn't matter. And if Biden had started a war with no end game, with no articulated goals, with no strategic vision, we'd be saying the exact same thing.
Well, he didn't say anything. It was the epitome of a giant 19-minute long Truth Social post where he babbled, he repeated himself about 1,000 times. Everything is destroyed, but we're going to destroy everything. Like if everything's destroyed, how are we destroying everything? What's left to destroy if it's all destroyed?
That's exactly right. And it's not just our opinion. Take a look at the oil markets today and take a look at the stock markets throughout the world. That speech has been deemed a total flop. And not only didn't help him, it actively hurt the United States.
Spacebar, I don't know how she would have addressed it. What I do know is I would have not supported her if she did something like this for the reasons that this administration is saying.
Yeah, this is just coming off as a big ass grift. And it's like, it's crazy because again, if we're going to bring up Biden, if Biden would have been doing the stuff that's happening right now, and we had a MAGA or GOP led Senate and House, like they would have been they would have been wanting all kinds of investigations. They would have been wanting to do all kinds of stuff. They would have been calling for him to been impeached already.
Get it gone. I know you probably weren't here. You just come in and feel like saying things, but I'll say it one more time. The president, via policy, does not control gas prices. That does not mean a president, through his actions on the world stage, just like any other person on the world stage, just like any other massive corporation on the world stage, cannot do or say something that can affect the people that do buy and sell those resources like oil.
Sure, a president can't, in and of himself, guarantee a good economy, but a president can certainly wreck an economy through his policies. He can wreck it.
How they're the most corrupt administration. They're literally taking bribes to do things. Like, I don't really need to say any more. That is enough. But
Yeah, and that's just that question is just not a good faith. That's just not a good faith question. I know you're not serious if you come in and you have to ask questions like that. It's just so unserious. And again, like you can't go over, especially to the place that you decided to start a conflict at, knowing that they can close these straits and stuff like that and not think it's going to have an effect on literally so many other things, not just the prices of oil.
and I saw someone talk about this in I was watching the Bulwark recap what was going on. If opening the Strait of Hormuz was as easy as putting warships in there and just opening it, why haven't they done it?
That part. And that's the thing. Like, the lack of critical thinking skills shows itself in the way that people are being so easily manipulated to believe what's being said. That it just shows you have like no. It's like, oh my God.
We've been wargaming a conflict with Iran since the Iranian Revolution in 1979. The thing that gets me is after we started the attack, after we've been at war with Iran, then we decided to shift troops over there, the 82nd Airborne and the two different Marine divisions, and we decided to bring in more ships from the Pacific Theater. Why weren't they in place to begin with? Every single war game scenario from 1979 through 2025 has said the same thing, that the first thing the Iranians will do will be to close the Straits of Hormuz. Why did that take us so much by surprise? The level of incompetence with this entire operation is simply mind-boggling. That we have to play catch-up now when we've been at war for a month? Are you kidding me?
I think they truly believed, ridiculously, of course, but I think they truly believed that what happened, or what in their mind seemed to have happened in Venezuela, was going to happen again.
Oh, that's got to be true, because General Kane, who will probably end up getting fired for this, but he's been leaking to everybody who will print it that he had to explain over and over and over again, specifically that to the president, that this is not Venezuela. It's apples and oranges. The two are not comparable. But he couldn't get through to him. Trump was convinced this would be just like Venezuela.
Which, by the way, we didn't do anything in Venezuela. We didn't free the people of Venezuela. Just because we're not reporting it, like it's exactly the same. Nope. It is not absurd. It is absolutely true.
Oh, John. Good Lord. That was Iranian money. It was their money, not ours. Their money. Okay? Their money. Good grief.
Yep.
By the way, speaking of Venezuela, and then I have to go, Mike, and thank you for having me up. He mentioned last night of all the oil that we're getting from Venezuela. What oil? We're not getting any oil from Venezuela. The oil in the tankers that we stole is still sitting in the tankers because it's against American law to unload the oil. And we spent $65 million so far just to maintain the tankers that are sitting there full of oil. We haven't gotten any oil from Venezuela. Remember when he called in the heads of the major oil companies and said, let's start rebuilding Venezuelan oil infrastructure? And they said no, because Venezuela doesn't have a functioning judicial system and oil companies operate on contracts and they don't trust Venezuela. You know, they realize that if they have to spend $100 billion, which is the estimate, $100 billion to rebuild the Venezuelan oil infrastructure, that will take years. And years from now, Donald Trump is not going to be president. How are they guaranteed to make a profit? They all look at Chevron, which took a gamble, and Chevron lost $4 billion because of it. They had to write off $4 billion because of the corrupt legal system in Venezuela, which is still the same corrupt legal system that exists now. That hasn't changed.
And those militias are still running things everywhere where those oil companies would be drilling. And yeah. Yep.
Exactly, H2O. That's the whole point. Exactly. Mike, thank you for having me. You can
Yeah, of
drop me
course.
down. Kia, have a great day. Chat, love you all. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Scott. Have a good day. And and on top of that, I think the thing is like this whole idea, which shouldn't surprise, like it doesn't surprise me, but the whole idea that again, this Americanacity of us, like that we get to make the decisions of how every other country handles any of their business at all.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
I can understand if they're talking about doing things to directly harm us, then we might have something to say. But because we don't like it, or we want to colonize and we want to just take over shit, and we just want to throw around our supposed military might,
Yeah.
in order for folks to just get rich, that's bullshit.
Thank you. How are things in Norway? I want to go to Norway and Sweden and Finland so bad. Like, if I had a bucket list, it would be to go visit those countries. I mean, and I've been to a good number of countries in Europe back when I was in college. But I want to go to Norway and Sweden and Finland so bad. Like, so bad.
Shawnee on the other side is basically saying I'm right. I love Shawnee. I absolutely love how that word sums up so much. Kia, Americanacity. And it just popped in my head one day and it just made so much sense. And it's crazy that a made up word can actually make sense to somebody else. Goes to tell me I'm not completely crazy yet. But it's just like this because it's so much. It's not just misogyny. It's not just the YT supremacy. It's not just like that whole colonizer spirit. It's just so many things all bundled up into one.
uh, Hey Alejandra, how are the news? I mean, most of the news is talking about the absolutely wretched and disgusting and pointless speech from last night and how it's caused everything to like skyrocket or plummet depending on what you're talking about. What was the case when the US bombed Libya for 7 months? I mean, what was the case? I don't know. I don't remember. I'm going to be honest. We've bombed so many places. I would argue that there is no case for the United States to be bombing anybody the way we are. ever.
That's period. Yeah, that goes Americanacity, like period. The fact that you and I think it's I have to say that, the one thing is, and it doesn't necessarily, I don't want to say that it makes it better, but when you're surrounded by people that know what they're talking about and are experts in their field or their craft, or they've been in the service and they've been doing their thing for a long time, and you're making those decisions versus somebody that just gets pissy in the middle of the night after their diaper gets changed and they just like, hey, let's just do this. Oh, this is an imminent threat that's been going on for what, 20, 30 years or whatever. It's so imminent.
And again, we spent 20 years in a smaller country with way more money every year and way more troops, and we couldn't even bring peace. And this man thinks that we can bring peace in 30 days? Like, what?
It's that Americanacity. It's that me. White man, I strong. I rule the world. I make all the decisions for everybody. That's that shit. That's what that is. And then look what happens afterwards. There's no plan. There's nothing in place to help if we call ourselves quote unquote dropping things out of the sky to make changes, but then you don't provide any support to keep those changes and to help provide whatever's necessary to help them do what they need, provide extra infrastructure and all those other things. I mean, it's just like, what's the point?
Yep. Price gouging? Are you talking about the oil? Like the oil prices? That's not barrels of oil is not price gouging. Again, this shows how it's a global market. It's a stock market. No, actually, if you're talking, it depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about like gas stations, they do not gouge. Again, if you look at how gas stations work and the way they do things, they make very little money on the gas you buy, which is why most gas stations have places where people can go in and buy stuff. That's where they make most of their money. Gas itself, they actually make very little on that whole thing. Mr. Global did a whole thing about how much they on average make from each delivery.
I do think though the gas station, the gas pumps, the stations may not make any money, but damn if them damn folks ain't sitting up there just
Well,
making
sure.
money from growing fist.
But again, how much those oil companies make per barrel is decided by the global market, not by them. And I think that's where there's part of us that believe that these oil companies decide what they're selling this stuff for. They don't. That's not true, because if they made very little selling gas, they wouldn't sell it at all. False. We sell a lot of things that we don't make a lot of money on. You think our people that own farms make a lot of money? No, they don't. Do they keep doing it? Yes, they do.
Yeah, and in the 30, the person or whatever it is, it doesn't have a picture, 33. It doesn't matter what we see at the end of the year. There's no reason for right now, like why we have to pay more than $1 um per gallon more. Like it is actively affecting people who have side jobs like DoorDash and stuff like that. there's not an increase unless people pay more in taxes. Where are they going to be extra compensated for all the extra gas that they're going to have to pay? Like, don't do that.
And again, I'm sure y'all think that you know. I trust people like Mr. Global more than random people in my chat, and this is no offense to you, literally. He works there. In 2022, average gallon of gas was 404, and in 2023, how worried were you then? Very.
That's that's such a dumb point. Like, really?
We don't support someone just because they have a letter next to their name. We're worried when it was 404. We're worried when it's 347. The numbers, the specific numbers don't matter when people still can't afford.
Especially why the price increase went up so much in 2022 at the end of that, after what that man in office did, how the end of that deal stopped and that the prices changed after that.
No, we look at the reasons for the couple weeks of data. If you just look at the numbers, sure, you can find answers that no pain, no gain, grow up. If you just look at the numbers, you can find a different reason if you don't look at why the numbers are that way. And again, you can't just reopen the Strait of Hormuz. You can't just restart the flow of oil. You can't just, it's not like a finger's gonna snap and all of a sudden everything's gonna be back to the way it was. That's not how it works. We're looking at months of this. We must understand foreign policy strategies. No. You think you understand foreign policy strategies because you're listening to the people that have no strategies. There's lots of people that understand plenty of foreign policy strategies that are going, there is no reason, there is no strategy. People that have done this their entire career. You think you have all the facts? No, I don't. I listen to the people that have the facts. In fact, I interviewed someone who had way more facts than I did last night. He didn't know everything, but he knew more than I did. I guarantee he knew more than you did in your Google search. No, I talk to the experts. That's how I learn. Nobody in this administration is an expert in what they're doing. In fact, they are all the complete opposite of experts and qualified. Wow. I think that is a copy pasta, Wendy, of something somebody just said just a little while ago on a different account. That's wild.
And the other thing though is
Thank
the
you,
whole
Night Shifter. Thank you, Jennifer.
the whole concept of this having to talk about what was happening all these other times and with other presidents, when you're talking about what's happening right now, the fuck does any of that matter? You should not have to use what somebody that shouldn't be part of your argument. You need to be talking about why is it good right now? Why is it good for people to be paying more than $1 more per barrel for regular gas, and then diesel to go up as much as it has, for all the the one thing where trickle down does work is the shitty prices to us when stuff like this happens.
And again, if you're unwilling to ignore the reality, because everyone's like, you listen to someone who is a billionaire say, oh, the prices will go back down. Don't worry. How is that helpful to the people that already can't afford to live? People are not moving from New York desperately. People are not moving from New York
Oh my
desperately. Ah! People are moving from New York and people are moving into New York, just like every state. Actually, there's the only states where right now there are people leaving desperately are like West Virginia. People are leaving West Virginia. Young people are leaving West Virginia in droves right now. It's really bad in West Virginia. I feel very bad for those that are sticking around and trying to make it work, because they're fighting the biggest uphill battle humanly possible. Iowa too, yeah. But people leaving states and moving into states, that's normal. And yeah, New York is more expensive, and certain people in certain situations feel the need to move out. That literally happens all the time.
Ghost, it's not lagging for me. Try leaving out and coming back and see if that helps at all.
Markets always fluctuate up and down. See, again, you're talking about stock markets, which most of the country are not involved in. Like a vast majority of the country does not do anything when it comes to stocks because they don't have enough money to do anything with stocks. They're just trying to pay their bills. Using stock markets as any sort of have gas prices not always fluctuated up and down, not to the level that they are. No. No.
It would be totally different. It would be something totally different. Like, let's just hypothetically say they had an earthquake and it damaged a shit ton of the oil stuff over there in the Middle East, and it closed up the Strait of Hormuz, and the gas prices went up. But when it happened because somebody did something, like an action of two leaders, and one of our like our top leader, the actions of what they did directly affected and affected what happened with the pricing. It's not the same.
Presidents do not have the ability to manage gas prices.
Okay, I'm about done with that. Shug, hi darling, good morning.
What's
Hello,
up, Shug?
dear. Hey, Kia. What's up? What's up, Mike? How's it going, buddy?
It's good. It's good. Other than that shit show of a speech yesterday.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Look, here's the thing. Then I think one of my good friend of mine said it. I think he said it the best. What Trump has done is he has taken the mask off of America. You see the people who are in charge, and usually men, that will do whatever they can to stay in charge and will go as far as they possibly can to keep these things the way that in a way that keeps them in charge and sets the people up for the future and being in charge. They want to hold on to the power always. That's all it's ever been about. Because as you all have been illuminating, what is the point of us being there We have plenty of issues right here in the United States,
Mhm.
and there's no way you can sit there and run on and stand by this whole America first, and you're not taking care of America. What are you doing over there?
Yep. And Dave, you don't seem to understand that a majority of this country can't afford to buy stocks in the first place. So your statement is a statement coming from privilege in a way that a vast majority of the country does not have the capability of doing, even if they wanted to. The stock market is not the economy. Stock market shouldn't be the economy. We shouldn't have a stock market.
Yeah, and I think my so I'm very much on the we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Like there's way too many people that are part of our government for us not to be able to. I don't think that because America First is so harmful. That whole concept is just so harmful, and I don't think and again, it's not the time of when it took you months to get on a boat to get somewhere, or you had to get on a horse and ride for days or weeks or whatever to get somewhere. You can literally hop on a plane and be in one side of the world to the other, and it making sure that like all of the things that fell apart when USA AID was taken away, how it's been so harmful to all these other places. And then what happens? It causes people to be displaced in some instances. And then what do they want to do? They want to come here. And I don't blame them. When we help perpetuate the destruction of where they live or where they're from, their region, whatever, then they want to come here. So there's like it's a two-faced type problem. Like first of all, stay the fuck out of what's going on with them. And if we see problems, what can we do to help them to stop if too many people are coming from an area, what can we do from that area to help them so they can be able to live there and make their economies thrive?
Lee, there were no nuclear weapons. And that is according to our own intelligence agency. There weren't any before, there still aren't any. All we have done, at minimum, is cause every country to want to make nuclear weapons more. That's what we have caused. That's what we have started. And by the way, DDC, this is the largest gain in gas prices in a month ever. We do have oil reserves. Not really. We've used up almost all of our oil reserves.
And the interesting thing about saying, nuclear weapons have decreased. It's an awfully convenient thing to say when you already have that capability. Yeah, we shouldn't make pew pews. No more pew pews when you have all the pew pews. Of course, you don't want anybody else to make them. Why would you? Again, results back to power. That's all it's ever. That's all it is. That's all it's ever is. Of course, you want to drop the capability. We shouldn't even have that capability. To end life on that sort of scale is absurd. The fact that we've developed a way to end life on that with that sort of magnitude is already backwards. Why would you even want that capability? Think about that. Why would you purposely want the capability to, on a large scale, stop life from happening?
Again, it's this idea of, for them, for a lot of these people, they consider certain lives more valuable than others. We already know that. I mean, the stuff that is coming out of the people that are in charge of right now is just so wild and disgusting and lacks any humanity, empathy, morality. It boggles my mind that, and again, I understand that we all have, we all want to survive. Gas is not at a 52-week high. It is not stabilizing now. What are you talking about? It has gone up 11% since this morning. Oil has gone up 11% since this morning.
That's what happens when you have people in charge that don't know what they're talking about. And I say this, like, I have this struggle in my brain sometimes with the, you know, like I said earlier, when we were younger, you could listen to the POTUS speak, and whether or not you agree with them, and there was some kind of like intelligence, some kind of, and if it wasn't that they had the intelligence, they had people around them that had the uh expertise, the know-how, the experience, the knowledge, all of the things. But it's like now, if you, in fact checking, at different points in times, it's not like it is now. But then it's like I struggle because I'm like, you literally have access to super powered computers in your hand. Like we have super powerful cell phones and all these different things. Shit, some people have smart TVs. You can look stuff up on your TV. And it's like, I get it, wanting to think that listening to POTUS is something that you're supposed to be able to do, but come on.
And H2O, false. West Texas crude is currently at 108. Brent is currently at 106. Murban is currently at 113. And again,
Sorry.
No, you can talk. I was just gonna, no one was talking, so I was gonna continue on stuff.
Yeah, like I heard this lady on GT's live last night. Oh my god. Because he basically just went live for the thing and then just stayed on. Which was kind of fun because I got to see Jolly and Matt do some business. I haven't seen them on TikTok in forever. But this chick was up there, and she come up there. She's talking about the Dems are schmurderers because we believe in unalive children and stuff. And then GT was like, "So, do you think that we should give free daycare for people who have babies, or daycare assistance? Have some kind of subsidies to help people?" No. Do you think that people should have paid leave? No, the government shouldn't be paying for that kind of stuff. It's like the total fucking disconnect. So the government, and then she said, but he took it away from the government, gave it to the states, and it's just like the state government. It's still the fucking government. And when you hear people say stuff like that, and it was really gross, like coming from a but that's the thing. It's like when you hear people say these kind of wild things, it almost doesn't surprise you when they come into the chat and they say stupid ass shit.
Looks like we've lifted sanctions on the new leader of Venezuela, even though she is literally just as bad, if not worse, than the old one. That's good. That's great.
Because of course, why wouldn't we do that? Make America great again. It's so fucking crazy. You almost can't help but laugh, almost like hysterically, because it's like, what the actual fuck is happening? I swear, I keep waiting for the crypt keeper to come popping up out of his coffin somewhere and be like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm waiting to happen.
Tor, I think you mean US people don't understand that this will affect shipping prices? No, I don't think they do. I think, so again, this is the part that when it comes to economics, this is the part that you can tell most people don't realize how it works. Either the prices will go up or the quantities will go down. Called shrinkflation. You will either get inflation or shrinkflation, depending on the product. That is what we will see. We've already seen it. We've already seen shrinkflation happen in a lot of things.
And I don't, the part of it, Blue Sky, the thing is they don't understand. And the person that made it, the comment about the shipping, people don't understand the intersectionality of it. About a month ago, I said that word 5 or 6 times alive at least for a whole week straight. People don't understand. People, especially if you've never worked in like shipping, if you've never worked in retail or that kind of stuff where you're actually hands-on, you don't understand how things work, how it all puts together. Like shit doesn't just appear on the shelves like by itself. There's boats involved and planes involved and trucks involved and trains involved. There's so many moving pieces.
US is a net exporter of energy. So, and this is the other thing that I think people don't realize. The US doesn't own the oil that we ship out. Yes, the US, if you look at just the numbers, we are a net exporter. But we don't benefit from that. We aren't Saudi Arabia or all these other countries where our oil and our energy are state owned, where when prices go up, they sell it and it goes into the state's coffers, the country's coffers that they can use for things for their country. They haven't even released the reserves yet because it really only bad for China. No. That's not true. You're talking about nationalizing the oil. That's why we overthrew Iran. Most of the world, their energy is nationalized. No, we do not own the oil. The country does not own the oil. That's what I'm saying. The country, the United States, does not own the oil. So I'm not sure what you're saying, Kevin. I own my oil. Okay. What does that have to do with what I said? That's literally what I said. Supply and demand affects gas. I mean, a lot of things, but yeah, supply and demand do affect gas prices. I own the land and the mineral rights. Again, I'm not sure what your point is, because I was saying that the government doesn't own the oil in the United States. That's literally what I said. No, I will not let you on.
When I deny you the first time, that doesn't mean demand to come up. That just means no. And that's the thing, like if you don't know what you're talking about, like don't come into the chats being so aggressive and angry. If you have questions, ask questions. But like, ugh.
No, because I don't know you and I don't bring up people I don't know. We have a lot of people that come up that have different views. I don't know you. This isn't a debate channel. This is a conversation channel. Sure, there's a whole lot of debate bros that you can go hang out with if you feel the need to hear yourself speak out loud. Nuh-uh, Gregory. Nuh-uh.
Then don't even spell it right. When you insult someone and you don't even use the right grammar.
Yeah, what did that say? Ignorant. What?
Hmm.
What in the Trump speech is that?
Yeah, they didn't spell either of them. Either of the words in that
Either
neither
way.
were spent right. That's hilarious.
You know, listen, as I like to say, either be loud or be wrong, but don't be both. It's hard to correct both. Please just pick one.
And again, I this is why I keep saying I have personally, I mean, obviously in the current government, I wouldn't want it because the current government is I don't trust. But I actually think energy should be nationalized. I think the entire country should benefit from the oil and stuff in that we ship out. No. Well, that was a great conversation, Kevin. Thank you for that. Can you
Now for the
elaborate?
next
Can you
now for the next
elaborate?
time somebody's like, "Hey, bring me up." People
When
like that person is why.
when we send oil across the globe or even in this country, what does nationalizing do? It means the country owns the oil. So when oil is sold, or any energy, so oil, natural gas, whatever is sold, whether it's worldwide or here, it goes into the country's coffers. And that can be used to upgrade things and and repair things and create new things. Like
Why would
most of the world does. Tor, that's the crazy thing. Everyone's like, oh, we can't do that. That's what everybody else does.
Because why wouldn't we just want the oil tycoons to just get richer and richer and richer? Like, why would we want to make it actually do something that could help all of us? Why would we do something like that? Because we want to make America first, right? Isn't that what that's about? And making us great again and stuff. But
If you nationalize oil, you will lose investment. I won't lose any investment. The country is the one that's investing at that point. What are you talking about? And breeds mistrust of government? I don't trust the government now.
yeah, and that's all without nationalizing some oil.
Obviously, I meant USA, not EU. USA is not losing any investment. We're not making any money.
Yeah, then maybe we wouldn't have an almost $40 trillion deficit. This is what I'm saying. Like, if anything, this just shows that we need to change. We have to change what and how we're teaching our young folks coming up, because at some point they're going to be the ones that are running everything. And when they start off without the right kind of knowledge and foundational knowledge, like they need to start civics and those kind of classes like way early in the world, and talk about how does the internet make everybody even more connected, and the fact that you can fly something from one side of the world to the other in a day. And I mean,
No, Darren, our debt was $38 trillion last year. We do not run a $32 trillion deficit. And it's 40 trillion now.
and see, it's like Tor, what you're saying, thanks to oil, we get free healthcare, free education, et cetera, et cetera. Because, it's that Americanacity of us that puts those blinders on, that don't allow us to see how other countries are doing it and are doing it so much better than us. It's the whole concept that we're the best, we're the best country, we're the biggest, we're what all of that shit, and that we don't need to look at how other countries do things because we can do it better. And we're not. We're like literally failing our people like hand over fist.
We make very little off of the leases and royalties compared to what we would make if it was nationalized. And we make very little taxes off of it because we give so many tax breaks to them.
Like all the ways that we could be making money, it seems like they're so against, especially if it doesn't involve, if it means that the people at the bottom are going to get a break. Because I mean, come on, tax breaks for the wealthiest and these corporations and stuff, how does that help us? How do we cannot be better and get better unless we invest? And how do we do that? We need the money. We need them fucking people to pay their taxes. And like I've seen it a couple different times. It is so right. It is not the right versus the left. It is definitely the rich versus everybody else.
Sure. Alaska's at least trying. Well, Alaska made a deal and made it possible for Alaskans to at least make something. Yes.
And I think too, though, like somebody else had mentioned in a comment, like Alaska and Hawaii are like special cases. They're where they are, like their geographical location and just like how the basic setup and all that stuff. But I agree, like if it would be so much better if we would learn, if we wouldn't be so stuck on ourselves and so indoctrinated that other people can do it better and that we can learn from other people. And if anything, maybe we can improve if we see, okay, they do it such and such a way, such and such a way, but this is a weakness, how can we improve it? But we won't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, we only make like $7-8 billion a year on leasing. We would make so much more than that on the oil that we and the energy that we sell.
Yeah, and then when you talk about wanting to go into the federal parks and all these places and start ripping shit up and out the ground, and it's just like, but why? We don't need to do that shit. There's so many better ways, and that's why it pisses me off when people are like, well, he's a businessman. Oh, really?
Well, and again, you look at China, and again, I don't think China's great, but their stuff is all nationalized. They are telling their companies, their oil refineries, to keep prices down and lose money because that keeps the price of gas down in their country.
And Kia, the thing is, you're right. He is a businessman, a spectacularly failed businessman.
Bye, Patty. Have a great day.
And that's what
Bye, Patty.
subsidies are for. Yeah, but you're not getting the point, H2O. So the problem with subsidies when there is no extra income because of it is all that means is it's a net taxpayer loss. The government, China, can do what they're doing because they get income from all of those things that are nationalized in the first place. So they can say, for this amount of time, we're going to lose a little bit because, at some point, hopefully we can turn things around and bring it back in. But we're not doing that in general here. We're not doing that at all here. I'm with you. And that's fine. This isn't a blue or we're not a team here, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that idea, and I appreciate the statement, H2O. Personally, I'm not on a team. I'm on team humanity and team what is best for all of American society, global society. I don't personally align myself with any letter. I align myself with people that believe that all people, no matter your race, religion, gender, identity, get rights, respect, dignity, and safety. That's it. In general, yeah. But I still want to align myself.
Yeah, Bonnie, that's all part of it. And it's like you can't, like, if you have like a house that needs to be renovated, like, how, if you have a house that's falling down and it's all in disrepair, how do you bring it back to life? You can either renovate it or you can build a new one. But what do both of those things include? An investment. You have to spend money in the right ways to make things better. And that's our issue. We're so worried about giving folks tax breaks that do, especially the ones that, no, let me not even say that. We're on TikTok. Never mind. Let's just say follow the money. I mean, the money that's just exchanging, that's just going around in this world that most of us will never be part of, that we have no idea how it actively works. Um, I, there's so many things that we do when you want to cancel the infrastructure plan, when you want to tear down wind turbines, in order to make cleaner energy, all of those things.
We're paying a wind turbine company $1 billion to stop making the wind turbine.
Did they accept or not?
I don't know.
I think it was like 2 companies total, because I read that story and they were like, and I'm like, I hope those companies say no.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Yeah, he's literally trying to pay them. They're willing to pay them to cancel their contract. It's insane. It's insane. That's what we be talking about. Like, there's so many things on so many levels. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't come out as much and doesn't get talked about, but it's just like, when you really, it's like, how are you trying to be America first? Like, when you have the opportunity, everybody in this earth, like, whether we believe it or not, like, there's one planet and the air just goes all around the one planet. It's all, we all have the same air. Some of it's dirtier than others because of the thing directly affecting us. But at some point, I mean, isn't that why there was smoke from the wildfires on different continents? Like, because that's how it works. And it benefits us all to stop polluting and to come about with greener energy. And you see countries like China actively putting in the work to do those things. I mean, again, it's just kind of like how it goes back to like what I said yesterday about our military. Why are we so big badass? Like, why are we the best?
Yep. And by the way, for anyone that is interested, not that Candace, who's over on TikTok chat, she's running for a state seat in Indiana. I haven't put up her video yet, but it's coming. And her mom is running for a seat in Minnesota. Interviewed her as well. That one's going to be going up a little bit later. So, there's a lot of really good people running for office right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the fact that you've got folks fighting to allow uh companies to dump waste and stuff into to water and stuff, and I'm like, again, like, we don't understand. I wish you could almost like paint a picture for people to truly see, like, one of those like connectivities, like when they solve cases on like true crime shows and stuff, and they've got like the strings with the pins and they show how everything's attached. And here lately on TikTok, I've seen a couple of different examples of showing how everything's interconnected, to realize like it literally, there's very little that happens that doesn't affect something else. Whether or not you see it, on the big way. It's just like when you're doing, when you buy a house that has to be renovated, you could put $50,000 into your house that you will never see as far as AC, HVAC, new plumbing, new floor joists, and all of those type of things. But what does that do? That's what you have to do to make it better.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody that is being so freaking generous. I appreciate you guys. That being said, I also want to just reiterate, please, 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 please go watch these interviews. Visibility and name recognition are the key for these people that are running grassroots campaigns that aren't getting corporate PAC money, aren't getting super PAC money. And because of that, they need our help watching their stuff, sharing their stuff, interacting with their stuff. Not just my content, although obviously I would love it if you guys all watch my content. Their content as well. The best chance that we have of people in their district seeing their stuff is if their stuff gets a lot of views, because we put in tags in all of their stuff that makes it possible for people in those areas to see them, assuming it gets enough views. And the algorithm pushes it out.
I finished watching one from Indiana today, Southeast Indiana. That was she was talking about one of my favorite things, like making things that grow from the earth legal. If you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yes, you're talking about Victoria. Yeah.
Yes, Victoria. That's her. I watched her this morning.
And I'm 10 subscribers away from 2,000. Just saying, if you're not subscribed over there, 10 away. You could be the 2,000th.
Heck yeah. And if you didn't know, we're also there live now, right, as well. We start there 30 minutes earlier. We start in the conversation, and we don't have to worry about all the folks coming in the chat acting crazy.
No, Lisa, Pam Bondi did not get fired. It was reported that he is talking behind closed doors about potentially doing it, but he's being himself, where he's, saying one thing on one place and then another thing on another place. So who knows what is real, what he's really thinking. But he's obviously not happy with her, because in 2 weeks she has to stand before a committee on the e-files. So, and I heard that he's considering putting the guy in charge of the EPA right now in that position. So there's a lot of weird things going on. And again, what's new, right? What's new?
I wanted to say, speaking of Victoria, what she was talking about with that topic, I don't think that kind of goes back to a conversation we had in this space when I was sitting there talking about why it was, when I told you, I believe I said I disagree with something that you said, or just a little bit different than what you said, about how having these archaic laws behind some of these things, where you could be in one state and it's legal, you go the next state it's not, and how that adversely affects people sometimes for the rest of their lives, over stuff that other people can literally go online and have shipped to their house with no problem. You go to another state, and I mean, you can end up with a felony. I had a friend specifically behind something like that. They ended up having to be a felon behind something, like I said, that other people can literally go online on their phone and just have shipped to their house. That has impacted him for 20 plus years of his life. And it's so important to make sure we get these freaking laws updated. And she's the first that I've heard of the interviews I've watched. That's not to say that there's somebody else that said that talked about it. And I think with her working in like the justice system, and sorry, I'm outside.
You're fine.
how much that it overruns the jail with a bunch of people. It's not necessary, sorry, for them to be behind bars and to use up all of those resources that could be used on other things.
Sounds like I'm reading another report from The Guardian that says Trump is polling his advisors about replacing Tulsi Gabbard as the intelligence chief.
But Jamie, go over to the tube. You won't get filtered unless you're me and you say wild shit. You go over to the tube and we can see it.
Yeah, Jamie, it's unfortunate. It's frustrating. I go live on TikTok because I get more people. When I only go live, I went live on Tuesday night. Nobody showed up, and it's fine. It was hilarious. I was like, yep. That's what happens. Everyone's busy at night.
Yeah, there's like a whole different set of creators and stuff that are coming on at different times. And it's almost like people because I kind of have a schedule. Like I know what I'm doing each day when it comes to live. But yeah, I feel you. I was getting ready to say something else. Shit. Oh yeah, Candace, that was something that she spoke about in her interview about the fact that you guys are surrounded. Like, let's just say I know somebody that also lives in that state, and they travel. We'll just say it like that. They travel. And it's ridiculous. I mean, it's just like here in North Carolina, like you guys just in the whole aspect of this control bullshit of how you quote unquote people that are supposed to be for the small government want to just control everybody because you believe it's something. I mean, we're missing out. We're missing out on so many funds that could be available for people. And speaking of what you were just talking about, I think part of the things, and I can't remember who else said it with me. Part of the reason, come on, Zoe. Part of the reason why I think he put these women in the roles in the first place was it's like a misogynistic type move, because then it's like you throw them out there with a bunch of policies that you already know. You're the one writing a lot of these EOs that have been repeatedly been shown to be unconstitutional, against the law, what have you, whatever they say, whatever the verbiage you want to use. And then that way they can kick the women out first and blame them, and then quote and bring in the men to make it all better and fix it.
Yeah. Well. I mean, again, yeah. Nothing to add. Whole bunch of yeah.
No notes.
No notes.
And I think that's where that just I was just shocked though, honestly, because like Di had made like a bingo card, like right at the beginning of the regime taking over and everything, and we were just shocked by how long it's like taken to, because like
I think we lost you.
Come back here. Come back.
What'd you do, Shug?
I didn't do anything.
That's
If anything, it was you, buddy.
All say. Oh.
Yep. See? All because you wouldn't admit Kia was right.
Oh yeah, is that why?
That's exactly why. Look, if you say Kia was right, I bet she'll come back. Look at him, Chad. He won't even do it. He won't even save Kia.
Save Kia. Oh look, she's back, and I didn't say it.
I don't know what happened, but yeah, you should have said I was right. It just kind of froze, and then I was gone.
Leave it to the two men to make women run in the other direction. Whose fault was it in 21 to 24? Whose fault was it? Like that oil went up? It was a global pandemic's fault in 21 to 24 and a war in Ukraine and global supply lines getting disrupted. That was the fault in 21 to 24.
My Wi-Fi is.
Yeah, you cutting in and out.
Back. I don't see. Okay. Yeah, this happened yesterday, but it was literally after your live. I made a post that I wasn't going to go live. I ate and I did go to sleep, but like by 12:30 my Wi-Fi, there was a TV, and I'm like, what the hell? And I looked and there was an outage that lasted from like a little bit after 12, probably 12:20 to 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, they're working on my flooring. So
Oh,
when they are cutting things, I just mute so it's not crazy loud for you guys.
yeah.
Meow. And why did it go down in 25? It'd been going down for years since it hit its top in 22. It went down, and it also went back up a lot of times too. But it was just gradually going down because no one was doing or saying anything to affect the global market. Because that's how it works. People say things, sometimes do things like invade other countries, and that affects the global market.
Is it? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Okay. It's the issue, because the issue is like, it's not that I don't have data. I have unlimited data, but I only have like 2 bars. So if I see red bars, I'm gonna just mute myself so it doesn't start breaking up. But I just saw something. It said, oh shit. He's about to sign an executive order to resume pay for Homeland Security, including DHS, and I think it said the Coast Guard, and it says bypassing Congress.
Yeah. I mean, he talked about that on the same day that Mike Johnson said that he wasn't going to bring the Senate bill passed bill before the House. He made that announcement that he was going to do that. So, yeah. Oil skyrockets because the Strait of Hormuz has been mined by Iran. I mean, it's skyrocketed because the Strait of Hormuz is closed, but that's not why it's skyrocketed yesterday. Yesterday it skyrocketed because that speech was horrible.
It was just so bad. And Eva, I can't reply on the tube because it's totally frozen because that's on my iPad, and without my Wi-Fi I can't use it. But I don't filter very well, I know. But I think I do. Because like as the thoughts get ready to pour out my mouth, I realize that I'm in this space, and in this space we don't have freedom of speech because we'll get taken down so fast. So I do find that I am better at catching shit before it just dribbles out my mouth.
Fire Chicken, I am putting the blame where it belongs. Our president, our administration, started a war with a country that controls the Strait of Hormuz. And they did what we knew would happen if we did what we did. Prices were going up before the strait was mined. I put the blame on the person that started it, not the country that's defending itself. And again, you're talking to someone who has no love for that government. They are a extremist, dangerous government. No argument there. But to ignore the fact that our administration is the reason that they're doing what they're doing would be ignorance. I guess you hang out here instead of TikTok. Every comment you make include, yeah, I'm sorry. Is anyone arguing that the war is not the reason? No, I don't think anyone specific. I'm sure there probably are some, but I don't think anyone's specifically arguing that the war is not the reason. I think there is argument on who is to the blame for. I think there are some that are trying to argue that we as a country are not to blame for it. No, presidents have not promised to do something about Iran but kicked it down the road. Nope. And a president did something about Iran in 2011, right?
You
2015? I don't
talking about
remember.
Obama?
Yeah. I forget when it was passed. Someone did do
can't
something
remember.
about it. And then this current president got rid of it, even though it was working by every metric from every group across the world.
Yeah, we just fell for the okey doke. That's it. That's all. I mean, because like I will say, I did hear somebody again arguing that whole crap about we had to do what we did because it was them having a nuke was imminent, and then the host was like, so which one is true then? He was like, we were told last year that their nuke capabilities were completely destroyed and wiped out. So did they just all of a sudden rebuild everything and come up with nukes in that short amount of time? Or were we lied to then and lied to again now?
What do I think of Byron Nome? Live your life, dude. Enjoy. I don't care. He's allowed to live his life how he sees fit.
I just think it's rich when
Of course.
you're married to somebody that bitches at all these folks that sit here and complain about drag queens reading to children, though.
Yep. Oh yeah. It's
Shit. Put on,
hilarious.
put on a wig. Put on a wig. Put on some fingernail polish. Like, damn. Do the damn thing. Go read to some kids or something. Like, I love that. I think it's fascinating watching somebody. It's an artistry and a skill, especially the ones that do it like on a higher type level. But man,
The
it's
hypocrisy, you mean?
fascinating.
As Alani Bankhead, who I interviewed and posted the interview yesterday, said in regards to her response to the e-files being released as someone who worked who hunted down people that did the kind of stuff that were talked about in the e-files. It's just another Tuesday. So hypocrisy is literally how those guys live. People in that world on the MAGA side, hypocrisy is how they live. Their entire existence is one giant act of hypocrisy. So
Yeah, because wasn't there just like a pageant for like kids at a place down in Florida here recently, covered in gold?
I honestly don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
Bars again. Yeah. I think I'm gonna get off. They're working right in front of my door again, and I know that the person who's doing it cares about interrupting and the noise and worries about it, and I want to just give him the freedom to just finish. So I'm gonna let that
Can you
happen.
hear me?
Yes.
Just to let you guys know, if I can't get my Wi-Fi, I can't go live. So I'm gonna try to work on that. If not, because I told my peeps I was gonna go live today, and most of them are listening here now. If I can't get this Wi-Fi fixed, I can't go live because I keep losing signal.
Yeah. But please, especially if Kia ends up not being able to fix it and not go live, but even if she does, please, I'm begging you, go watch the videos of the people that I'm interviewing. Please. I don't know how much more I can do other than continue to beg, not just for me who could use who just, it's helpful obviously if you watch my stuff, but for these people who we need to win. We need them to win. We need them to win. So if you care, please, I'm begging you, go watch and share. Share with one person, share with 5 people.
Yes. Listen, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Kia, love you. Mike, love you, buddy. Love you, chat. And y'all make sure y'all collect all your points.
Yep.
Daily Heart Me's, follow on the tube, like the video, all the great things.
And
appreciate y'all.
And if you're not following, let's see if anything's changed. I am 10 subscribers over on the tube away from 2,000. So you could be number 2,000. You can say you're number 2,000 or not. Just be like, Year Harris? What? Anyways, and subbing is free. Anyways, guys, I will see you all tomorrow morning, and we'll see what new craziness that we have to talk about. Either way, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. You guys are amazing just the way you are, and I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile, do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys.